Thanks, Eric. And as Eric said, this activity is to look at a geo-environmental inventory of eolian deposits, which is wind eroded sediments in eastern Canada. I'm going to skip the abstract. These were ourselves within the Geological Survey's project members and external collaborators, which includes University of Fraser Valley, colleagues in upstate New York, University of Montreal, and with the both the Quebec and Ontario ministries of natural resources. This is when the project began. Since then, we've extended, probably doubled about the number of partnerships we have, including researchers with the University of Quebec and Montreal and the Scotty First Nation. Right now, there's probably half a dozen students or more that are involved in the activity. Myself, so essentially what we're looking at is centered around sand, which is about a $2 billion industry in Canada, primarily through construction materials, concrete, bricks, pipes, and industry for glass ceramics, in Western Canada for fracking as well. The cost of sand, might vary from $50 to $90 per ton, depending on what its utility is, what it's used for. And Quebec and Ontario account for the majority of sand or sand and gravel quarries in Canada, particularly construction boom, both and also in local resource extraction industries where it's needed. And yet, when we look at sand dunes specifically, which is well-sorted sand, we see various different interests or land uses associated with these across Canada. Of course, the resources for construction and commercial industries, resource for forestry and silviculture, essentially forested pines, this sort of thing that was reforested on, quite common. Agricultural lands, both crops, plantations, livestock grazing. You may not know, half of your blueberries for lac Saint Jean are coming from sand dunes, where the forest has been removed, most of the other plants, and then we've hybrided and utilized blueberries there. So it's interesting to look at this type of land use that's going on. Military reserves, almost every military reserve in Canada is on some type of dune field. So Indigenous to reserve lands as well. Unfortunately, many of the type of lands that reserve land is of lesser quality from our perspective, and that includes sand dunes. And then conservation, recreational parklands, residential properties, commercial recreation, think golfing, ATV, mountain biking, I like to think mountain biking, protected lands for biodiversity, groundwater, and for shorelines. And there's a very strong biodiversity component to eolian dune fields. Sand dunes in Canada, they are very widespread across Canada and the United States. When we look and understand sand dunes, what we see is that this is an element of understanding the quaternary geology of Canada. You can understand deglaciation and terrestrial emergence by dating sand dunes. You can understand timing of dewatering of places like Agassiz, Champlain Sea, by understanding sand dunes. And you can understand the past climate in terms of circulation patterns around the ice sheet, for example, and how that might have related and affected past ecology or people in Canada during that time as well. Currently, the knowledge for sand dunes in Quebec and Ontario is very limited. There's a publication from Peter David in 1977, various publications, some aspects of this on the Champlain Sea and Glacial Lake Ojibwe. Ontario, Quebec mapping reports, sufficient geology reports there that may or may not identify the dune fields, and a few journal publications, and that's about it. These dots have been put together by me. There's only one dune specialist in Canada. So the purpose of this is to develop a geo-environmental inventory of sand dunes in northeastern North America, map the occurrences of the dunes and associated land use. Because there's a variety of land usages going on, and often the two have not been put together. Describe the morphology, assess grain size mineralogy, and essentially science this to determine their age. Because there's a lot of science and research that can go behind that. And like I said, we can interpret this in the context of geological history and past climate. This is an example of a dune field. This is lac Saint Jean. But what's really nice is this is what it looks like. And it is amazing. There must be 400 to 600 separate dune occurrences in Quebec and Ontario alone. And many of them end up looking like the Sahara Desert when you look at it. So here you can see the parabolic dunes, interdune area, and direction of sediment transport. We could date that and understand the time of this occurred. I know, you have me 1 minute left already. So we will begin by analyzing vegetation, soil description, field data app for that, and integrate that with SNS. That's a little learning curve for me. I do also hope, thanks to Greg and the geophysical team, to use the GPR. This is an example of GPR that we did in the Great Sand Hills of Saskatchewan. The results from using the GPR can be fabulous in terms of seeing this particular underlying components. We'll also document essentially the land cover and field photos, public records. Just to point out, this is not as I knew, this is my house. And so for interpretation, essentially we'll take that, for example, represents a 1 kilometer square circle or 1 kilometer circle, and interpret the dunes within that. So this is just a general wind direction. We take the interpretation from LiDAR. We'll understand that in terms of the effects on increased sediment supply and directional divergence. And this is amazing. I'm taking up other people's time to give it. And we'll report database of dune fields in general as it reflects to the past paleo environmental history for Canada. And sediment supplies, dune types, orientations. We'll map those. We'll say we'll map them. We'll make it, it's already been done, but it hasn't. And create a nice inventory of dune fields in Eastern North America. And we'll have some unique publications in regards to understanding the context in terms of past climate. Thank you.